What is up, YouTube? This is Nanashi with a brand new deck profile video. This time I'll be showing off my newly updated water deck, which as many of you know is my fish type deck. The deck's monster lineup has gotten a complete overhaul that now makes the deck semi-playable without even using Coelacanth 100% of the time. Let's see where this goes. Starting with the low-level monster lineup, we have Triple Beautiful Princess. When it's summoned, you can banish it to special summon any level 4 lower fish type monster from your deck. And then we get into one of my favorite little mini engines, the Nimbles. Nimble Angler at 2 and Sunfish at 3. Angler's good because when you send it from your hand or a deck to the graveyard by a card effect, you get the special summon up to 2 level 3 or lower Nimble monsters from your deck. And more often than not, in this instance, your target will be 2 of the 3 Nimble Sunfish. You can't target another Nimble Angler, but that's fine because you really only need the Sunfish. And its effect is that when it's destroyed by a battle and sent to the graveyard, you can send another fish from your deck to the graveyard, and then summon another Sunfish. We also have the Triple Fishborg Archer. I've gone back and forth with the number on this one, but 3 seems perfectly valid. If it's in the graveyard and you control no monsters during either of your main phases, you can send a water monster from your hand to the grave to special summon it. But during the battle phase of the turn that you use this effect, you have to destroy all non-water monsters you control. And the one of Friller Rapka. If a fish, sea serpent, or aqua monster you control, which is the majority of the extra deck, were to be attacked, you can banish it from the graveyard, making it into a little Necrogardna. It negates the attack, and as an added bonus, it reduces the monster's attack by 500 that was attacking you. And then we get into the higher level fish, which actually do a lot of the grunt work that the low level ones can't. Single Fishborg Doctor. I've gone back and forth with the numbers on this one as well, but 1 seems to be okay. Its effect is that if it's in the graveyard, you can special summon it if you control a Fishborg monster. But if there's another monster that is not a Fishborg on the field, it self-destructs. And if you use its effect to summon itself from the graveyard, it gets banished when it leaves the field. Hammer Shark, on the other hand, allows me to go into multiple different varieties of monster. By reducing its level by 1, I can special summon a level 3 or lower water monster from my hand. Royal Swamp Eel is a one-of now because, well, it kind of clogs, if I'm just going to be honest. But it's good. It's a 4-star water tuner, which lets you synchro summon into a lot of your high-level stuff, but you can only use fish with it. Now, Triple Wind-Up Shark. I completely forgot about the existence of this monster, and at first glance, I almost always thought it was just a machine of some sort, but it's a fish. If you normal or special summon one, you can summon another one from your hand with its own effect, and once per turn, they have the effect to increase or decrease their levels by 1, but only once while they're on the field. And then, of course, we have the big boss, Super Ancient Deep Sea King Coelacanth. Discard a card from your hand once per turn, special summon any level 4 or lower fish monsters from your deck, but their effects are negated and they cannot attack. It sets up your entire board for every play that you want to make. And then we move into the spell lineup, which is pretty high in number. We have the Triple DDR, Different Dimension Reincarnation, which lets me discard a card to bring back a banished monster. But if this card is destroyed, that monster leaves the field as well. Foolish Burial, you send a monster from the deck to the graveyard. The main point of this card is just to drop the Nimble Angler so you can get the 2 Nimble Sunfish and use it either as tribute fodder or rank 2 material. Instant Fusion at 3 now. Pay 1,000, special summon a level 5 or lower fusion from your extra deck. Treat it as a fusion summon, send it to the grave, destroy it during the end phase. You can only play 1 a turn. I now have 3 targets in this deck, so 3 of these is perfectly valid. Triple Moray of Greed. You get to return 2 water monsters from your hand to the deck and draw 3 cards, which can help get rid of those clunky cards you don't need. Double MST, pretty much standard in my decks now. And Triple Sacred Sword of 7 stars. Mainly I use this to get rid of Coelacanth and draw 2 cards, but once in a while I hit a Gungner that I'm not using anymore for extra draw utility. And then for the traps, we have the simple Bottomless Trap Hole, staple in all my decks, and Solemn Warning, which is stable in pretty much every deck. Before anyone really goes off on me about this, I did try Fish Depth Charge. It's a great card. The problem is its dependency on having a specific variety of monster on the field just to be able to activate it made it so difficult to use, it wasn't honestly even worth it anymore. Next we move into the side deck, which is a bit different this time around. We have one Deep Sweeper, which attributes itself to act like an MST. It's good for quick setups, but I really found it to be a little too slow to run in the main deck. Fishborg Doctor number 2, another copy of Swampio, Abyss Dweller. I actually really like this monster. Its summoning requirements are very loose. You don't necessarily have to use water monsters, but since this deck is all water, I don't have to worry about that. And if you do use a water monster, you gain point boost, and it has the ability to negate opponent's grave effects for a turn, so that's really fun. And then we have the double Dark Hole, the third MST, Compulsory, double Fiendish Chain, double Memory Loss, Mirror Force, Torrential, and Vanities. And then finally we finish up with the extra deck, which has something from pretty much everywhere you could imagine. Single Elder Entity Norden, which, when summoned, lets you bring back a monster from the graveyard at level 4 or lower. Easy Synchro and Xyz card right here if you hit it with an instant fusion. Rare Fish. I don't have a copy right now because that price tag is still just slightly too high, but, you know, tax refunds are coming, so who knows. But you mainly just summon it with instant fusion. It's a level 4 fish, which just thrills me to death about being in this deck. And it's easy to call out and use as a rank 4 or the other card to a level 7 Synchro. Sea Monster of Theseus, though. That one's going to be a bit more difficult than a Rare Fish. A 5-star tuner fusion that you pull right out of the extra deck that requires 2 tuners to summon, but is still perfectly acceptable under instant fusion. Coral Dragon and Duloran are my 6-star synchros. Coral Dragon is a 6-star synchro tuner who lets you discard a card once per turn, target a card your opponent controls, and destroy it. And if this synchro summon card goes to the grave from the field, you get to draw a card, which means he's automatic refill for his effects. Duloran, on the other hand, lets you load up your hand by returning cards you control once per turn to your hand, and increasing his attack points by 500 each, so the two kind of work in tandem. And Gungnir lets you discard up to 2 cards from your hand once per turn to destroy cards your opponent controls. Otherwise, he's a 2500 point beatstick and is my other target for Sacred Sword of the 7 stars in the event that I need more draw. Then we have the Cat Shark. I only summon this using the Nimble monsters and mainly after I drop Nimble Angler, but its effect is fun. If it has materials on it, it cannot be destroyed by battle, and once per turn during either player's turn, you get to detach a material and target a rank 4 or lower Xyz monster you control, and its attack and defense become double its original attack and defense until the end of the turn. My favorite way to use it is in tandem with Nightmare Shark's effect, who, once per turn, lets you detach a material, target a monster you control, and let it attack directly. So a double-pointed Cat Shark into Nightmare Shark effect would allow Nightmare Shark to attack directly for 4,000 damage. And then we have the Super Quantal Mech-Deuce Scrampulse. Still on the fence about using him, but for right now he's fine, because you can detach a material to target a spell trap and destroy it. Other than that, it really doesn't do anything for the deck. Other than being a secondary target to pull out with Bahamut Shark in the event that I need more tribute fodder to summon another Coelacanth later. This effect lets you detach a material, special summon a rank 3 or lower water Xyz from your extra deck, but this card cannot attack for the rest of this turn. Now, Hopewoven Dragon Spider Shark is a lot of fun. During either player's turn, you can detach a material, all opponents' monsters lose 1,000 attack, but you have to wait until any monster declares an attack. You can't just do it freely. But if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the grave, you can bring literally any other monster in your graveyard back to the field except him. Still running the double Silent Honor Art, though, because it's Silent Honor Art. You double detach to steal any monster your opponent controls that's in attack mode that was special summoned. And I am still running the Mermail Abyss YuGiOhs. 2 level 7 water monsters, which is easy to pull with this deck. And while it's on the field, level 5 or higher monsters can't attack, and once per turn during either player's turn, I can detach a material to negate the effects of all monsters my opponent controls that have less attack until the end of the turn. And that is the deck. Like I said, this deck has gotten a complete overhaul on its mechanics, its base monsters that it summons, and it can now work in tandem with or without Coelacanth necessarily being present. I hope you guys like the deck profile, and if you can think of any way that I can improve this deck a little bit more, feel free to let me know. In the meantime, this has been Nanashi, signing out.
What's the next stage? What's the next stage?